Hari Om, and a very warm welcome to all of you on this Tapovan Gita Jayanti celebration. Today marks a very important and auspicious day in Chinmaya Mission's calendar. Today we not only celebrate the Jayanti, birthday of our Param Guru, Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, but also the day that Bhagwan Shri Krishna taught Arjuna the message of the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of the Kurukshetra. These two events do not go unnoticed in Chinmaya Mission. Swami Tapovanji Maharaj gave the world Swami Chinmayananda, and Swami Chinmayananda, Gurudev, spread the message of the Bhagavad Gita across the globe. Many of you will have been participating in this month's Tapovan Gita Fest, which culminates in today's celebrations. If there is one thing that you do today in service of your Guru, please share and spread the links to the Tapovan Gita Fest and where and how to access your free copy of the Bhagavad Gita with Swami Chinmayananda's commentary. This is the greatest service that we can do for humanity and to our Guru by sharing the message and knowledge of self-transformation. Today's program is a combination of local and global celebrations. This will include a message by our global head, Swami Swaroopananda ji, and Pujya Guruji, Swami Tejomayananda. There will also be a walkthrough of Tapovan Kuti in Uttarkashi, India. If you would like to donate on this auspicious day, please visit chinmayabooks.com. Wishing you all a very happy Tapovan and Gita Jayanti. Enjoy the celebrations. Hari Om.
Om Shri Krishna Paramatmane Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Pujya Gurudev said that the work of spreading the Gita and the Upanishads was to unveil him and his glory, his vibhuti, Tapovana Mahima, in the hearts of all. Today, we are celebrating the Jayanti not only of our Paramaguru, Pujya Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, but also of the Bhagavad Gita, the momentous historic occasion of the unveiling of the teaching that Bhagwan Shri Krishna gave to Arjuna. We know the Bhagavad Gita thanks to our Pujya Gurudev. And as Pujya Gurudev himself said, the reason that he worked to make it available to all of us is so that we can recognize the glory of that truth that is revealed in those scriptures in our own hearts, a truth that he himself recognized in Pujya Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. On such an occasion, let us be filled. On such an occasion, let us be filled with renewed inspiration to follow the path showed to us by our parampara, to follow the path of the scriptures, and to reach, to know, to attain that highest truth ourselves. The greatest gratitude that we can show, the greatest offering that we can make, is to understand and to live this truth which they worked so hard to make available to us through the teachings of the scriptures. Let us offer our pranams with gratitude, reverence, and devotion at the feet of Pujya Swami Tapovanji Maharaj and Bhagwan Shri Krishna. Let us offer our pranams at the feet of Bhagavan Shri Krishna and our Pujya Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, in whom we are able to recognize that truth which Bhagavan himself speaks of. Let us invoke their grace and blessings in our own lives, such that we are able to attain that goal that they pointed out to us, and we are able to know them within in our own hearts. Greetings to all once again on this very auspicious occasion. Hari Om.
ॐ श्री परमात्मने नमः। गीताध्यानम्। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्ददामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे पुल्लारविन्दाय तपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वालितो ज्ञानमयप्रदीपः प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपालनन्दनः पार्थो वत्स सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भीष्मद्रोणतथा जयद्रथजला गान्धारनीलोत्पला शल्यग्राहवती कृपेण वहनी कर्णेन वेलाकुला अश्वत्थामविकर्णघोरमकरा दुर्योधनावर्तिनी सोतीर्णः खलु पाण्डवैरणनदी कैवर्तक केशवः पाराशर्यवचः सरोजममलम् गीतार्थगण्डोत्कटम् नानाख्यानककेसरं हरिकथा सम्बोधिनाबोधितम् लोके सज्जनषट्पदैरहरहः पेटीयमानं मुदा भूयाद्भारतपङ्कजं कलिमल प्रध्वंसिनः श्रेयसे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम् यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनो यस्यान्तं न विदुः सुरासुरगणा देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः।
व्याप्तं जगद्येन चिदात्मभावात् रज्ज्वायता हेर्हि चराचरं यत् सन्न्यस्य सर्वं च सदात्मभावे स्वयं समस्तं च बभूव यस्तु निस्सङ्गनिर्मुक्तिपदं प्रपद्य ब्रह्मात्मभावेन विराजितो यः
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. This may be a verse that disciples chant mechanically or maybe with some sentiments and belief. But for our Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananda, this was a direct, experienced reality. For him, Sri Swami Tapovanji Maharaj, our Param Gurudev, was Sakshat Parabrahma. Very often, when we used to look and be in the presence of our Gurudev, such a treasure house of knowledge, such a great personality, so full of love, compassion, and in every way so awesome. We used to wonder that if he is so great, then who he always indicates to be his source. Because whenever anybody wanted to even worship Gurudev or gave him any credit or compliments, he always referred back that it is all the blessings of my Guru, Sri Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. About Param Gurudev, nothing can be said. Even what we read from his autobiography in Ishvara Darshan or his wandering in the Himalayas or whatever we get to hear a little bit from here and there, nothing can fathom the depth, the greatness, and the vastness of this abode of Tyaga and Tapaha. Both his names, Tyagananda as well as Tapovanji Maharaj. This embodiment of such austerity and renunciation, what can be said about him that even the greatest of orators, our Gurudev, would become quiet when asked to speak about his Guru. Many a times when people used to ask him that tell us something about Param Gurudev, he would become quiet. This logical, magnificent, humorous, powerful Gurudev of ours would have his eyes at that moment moistened with devotion, looking in the yonder and drifted into meditation and would become quiet. If people went on insisting, he would just say that Param Gurudev is Brahman, and Brahman cannot be described in words. He who is to indicate Brahman through the scriptures like no one could do, when it came to that manifest Brahman in the form of his Guru, he would become silent. We would go on insisting. At best, he would say that Brahman cannot be described in words, and again become quiet. Once I got an opportunity I was with him, and people were asking about the various masters in the field of spirituality, and Pujya Gurudev was talking about them, and I thought, now is my opportunity to ask him about the greatest master who made possible for us, this great master who was sitting in front of us, describing the glory of great masters and a visible great master to us. I used to always sit there thinking that I will grasp every moment, every movement, every word, every incident, every experience with Pujya Gurudev, so that I could remember and I could glorify and speak whenever needed. But whenever we asked Gurudev about his Guru, he would become silent. Here was my opportunity, and I did not want to ask him, because I heard many times, even attempted many times, that he would say that Tapovanji Maharaj is Brahman, and Brahman cannot be described in words. As youngsters as well as young brahmachari, we used to sometimes say, okay, enough of this Brahman bit. Let us hear about him. Let us hear some experiences. So I this time did not ask directly about Param Gurudev. I just asked Gurudev, could you tell us some of your incidents with Param Gurudev? And Gurudev looked at me. I'd already done the Vedanta course. I was a brahmachari, and looked at me and gave me that look. Is this what you have understood? And he started off. He said, in the infinite Brahman, incident, experience, in that one without a second, there is no incident. And I thought to myself, he's again escaping from it. I can't let this opportunity go. And as usual, Gurudev became quiet. But my sincere quest to get a glimpse of our Gurudev's Guru, in my heart, I just sat there quietly, pleading that give us a glimpse, expecting it in words, which only we can at the moment comprehend. He was quiet for some time, but I was not giving up. And as it always seemed, at such situations, he seemed to distract our minds to something else. And we were sitting in a balcony on the seashore, and he turned our attention to listen to the sound of the waves. And he said, listen, listen, how the waves are rising, and how they begin to roar, and how they fade away. The tide was probably coming in, and you could hear the waves rising in their cadence and then fading away. And we were hearing to the sound of the waves. And as we were listening to it, he said, listen, how the whole universe resonates with the sound of Om. Listen to the sound of Om in the waves, and see how it rises, how it reaches its crescendo, and then fades away into silence. Now close your eyes. And he chanted Om along with the waves. And then we heard only the sound of the waves. And then he said, now listen listen to the silence between the two waves. And then there was only silence. And in that silence, Gurudev revealed who the Guru is.
The holy ashrama of Swami Tapovanam was but a small lowly hut constructed with mud and stones. It was roofed with a particular variety of stone slabs commonly available in the Himalayas. This cottage had a very small veranda to its south. On the western wall of the veranda hung a small radiant picture of Lord Mahadeva adorned with serpents. It seemed as though the compassionate Lord Chandrasekhara was pouring his benign grace on all who went there. The floor of the veranda, smoothly wiped with cow dung, as was the tradition then, had hardly enough seating space for 4 persons together. On its eastern side was spread a small square mat and a seat of sackcloth. We saw on its western side a monk with a radiant face seated on a woolen asana, leaning against the wall facing the east. He was wearing a long ochre robe stretching from neck down to the feet, pink and fair complexion, with shaven head held high and broad forehead smeared with vibhuti, eyes long and lotus-like, pupils steady and sparkling like the Venus star, nose long and sharp, the calm and majestic face glowing with rigorous penance and strict brahmacharya, long arms stretching down to the knees, slender and tall in physique. Our revered Swami Tapovanam was one in whom the qualities of a Mahatma were perfectly synchronized. The very glimpse of that Jivan Mukta who revelled in the solitary realms of inner bliss was enough to thrill us and make us bow our heads in deep reverence with our palms joined together in fervent salutation. For a moment, my mind became still and filled with supreme ananda. Thereafter, one by one, each of us offered the roses we had at his holy feet and did Sashtanga pranamas before him. It was with great solace and thrill that we rose up from the floor. Unlike the ordinary sadhus, he neither blessed us with his palm on our heads, nor offered us any vibhuti or fruits as prasad. But we received instead a look of utter compassion and ananda as our prasad. The stamp of that peace and blessing will remain aglow in our hearts throughout our lives. Though he had lost almost all his teeth, he conversed in a clear and beautiful manner, and his diction was superb. His eloquent words, brimming with loving kindness and politeness, couched in small sentences, could attract and please anyone who heard him. He sat there and talked on till 11 o'clock, inquiring about the practice of dharma relating to sannyasins and ashramas that was in vogue in Kerala at that time. He preferred to live unencumbered in the true spirit of a mendicant. He used a kamandalu to keep water and a small bowl of clay to eat his meals. We were overcome with wonder and admiration to see such a severely ascetic way of life being observed by one who was held in great esteem and adored by all. My mind was naturally surprised at seeing the small hut and the rigorous routine of Sri Swami Tapovanam. However, there was in that little Tapovan Kuti what I failed to find in any other ashrama, a rare and wondrous Shanti.
Om Jai Guru Tapovana Swami Sadguru Tapovana Man Buddhi Chit Kar Pavan Man Buddhi Chit Kar Pavan Paramanand Ghana Om Jai Guru Tapovana उत्तर काशी निवासी ज्ञान निष्ठ स्वामी हिमवद विभूति निहित अंतर्यामी। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना। चिद्विलास शिव पूजक श्रुति मार्ग धारी। तप ही जिनका जीवन वेद भाष्यकारी। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना। बदरी हरि ध्यायक जो गंगा स्तुति करता। भक्ति विराग विधाता शास्त्र ज्ञान दाता। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना। ब्रह्मनिष्ठ भयहारक भवमोचक रूपा। चिन्मय गुरु हमें देकर महती कीन्ही कृपा। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना। स्वामी सद्गुरु तपोवना। मन बुद्धि चित्त कर पावन। मन बुद्धि चित्त कर पावन। परमानंद घन। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना। ओम जय गुरु तपोवना।
With restless fire of youth he climbed the holy mountain, life's mystery to find. In that great forest he found refuge, seated at the feet of the spring of truth. No comfort can quench, nor pleasure console the questions burning his thirsting soul. River of knowledge from long ago, Chinmaya flow, flow. On and on it goes, and ever grows. Chinmaya flow, Chinmaya flow. Through hunger and cold,
Why should we study the Gita?
And don't say that you have got there is anybody in this world who has no sorrow. Everybody has got sorrow. In order to enjoy sorrow, now and then they give you a little happiness. Like chutney, a little happiness. Then sorrow starts. Sorrow is the main diet. The happiness is only pickles, a little to clean your tongue and get your appetite back again.
Action is the forefront of our being. Love is the essence, and knowledge is the architect. We are constantly committing to actions, with every breath and step, contributing to the world around us. We all have goals in life and strive for success. However, we don't always get what we want and find ourselves feeling anxious and frustrated. Wouldn't it be great if there was a formula that we could follow to reduce our stress and ensure success? Krishna tells Arjuna to be present in his actions. This is our solution too. Being present ensures that we make the most out of every moment, thereby improving our efficiency and enjoyment of the work. It allows us to surrender and fully accept the outcome of our efforts, providing us with peace both during and after our actions. The Bhagavad Gita guides us to look beyond our own aspirations. When we are in this frame of mind, inspired by something higher than our own existence and selfish desires, it brings out the absolute best in us. Our needs are automatically taken care of in this process. Even our wants may be fulfilled as a byproduct of working for a greater good. Collaboration is the secret. Nature provides the perfect role model as every being works cohesively and cooperatively together. Teamwork allows us to appreciate the intertwined duties of all of our roles. When working for our own individual interests, we end up competing, which brings out the worst in us, harming the work, ourselves, and others too. However, when we come together to work with and to serve others, we will have the opportunity to create our mark in this world.
Some say that life is a game. But then, how does one play to win?
In the movie of our lives, love is a central feature. We are all creatures of love and constantly seek love. Ultimately, when that love is turned to the higher, it evolves to become devotion. The Gita explains that our mind is both our best friend and our worst enemy. We are the guards that sit at the checkpoint of our mind, deciding which thoughts we allow to impact us, shape our personalities, and design our own destiny. We have the ability to build strong minds that will protect us. But if our minds are not strong, we can give in to weaknesses, even whilst others are trying to lift or help us. These words of the Gita give us a significant understanding of our own minds. We learn how to use our minds as tools to always work for us and to avoid the destructive consequences that could occur when it works against us. Krishna distinguishes two parts to our thinking, mind and intellect. Our intellect is structured, logical, and rational, built on and to understand. On the other hand, the mind is the seat of our emotions. Emotional thinking often clouds our perception and creates a lot of inner chatter. In this state, our mind does not operate at its optimum capacity. But when we are able to silence the chatter, our minds become powerful tools capable of wonders. Let the mind be guided by the intellect, just as the charioteer guides the horse. With the objectivity that arises in a quiet mind, we make much better decisions in all aspects of our lives. Emotions are intrinsic to our being. They are a big part of both our mental and physical health. Therefore, to be able to understand and govern them allows us to have better experiences moving forward and become improved versions of ourselves. Our emotions, when guided by devotion and reverence, purifies our minds and uplifts our thoughts. Krishna compassionately assures us that His love is always with us, and none of our efforts to improve are ever in vain.
So many questions. Where can we find the answers?
Knowledge shapes our thoughts, words, and actions. It empowers us. It is knowledge that destroys ignorance and sets us free from our sorrows. All beings have endless questions that drive us. What is our purpose? Where is our place in this world? The knowledge within Krishna's song holds the keys that unlock every answer. As we experience life, we sometimes forget our questions in the monotony of our daily routines, but they always manage to resurface in one form or another. We question our occupation, relationships, goals, rituals, beliefs, and so on. Our questions will deepen and always set us to seek the truth. Unlike many other self-help texts, the Gita tackles these questions that elude much of humanity. Krishna helps us understand who we really are at our core. It reveals to us our essential nature and how all of creation is intrinsically connected through the oneness of consciousness. This depth is what differentiates the Gita from any other book you might pick up, for it is a self-discovery.
Throughout the course of history, there have been many amazing teachers of the Gita. One teacher that stands out is Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda. An infinite number of things made his style of teaching so unique, from drawing parallels to our everyday lives to his charismatic, enigmatic, universal approach. His precise and logical application of the Gita, merged with his incredible, infectious sense of humor, allowed all of his lessons to be relatable and easy to follow. His approach to teaching allows us to easily digest such levels of depth and find solutions we so earnestly long for. And now, we present our very own Pujya Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda.
Will I understand the Gita?
Same thing as the reception of your receiving set in the radio's receiving set would depend upon how you tune up the machine. The broadcast is the same to everyone. But if your receiving set is not giving you the satisfaction, it is not because the broadcast is wrong, but your equipment, receiving equipment, is not tuned up well. In the same way that teacher gives the knowledge, the Upanishad gives the same information to everyone. But how much we are able to absorb them will depend upon the quality and condition of our mind.
What if I fail?
Just as a little baby, he can't get up and walk. Though an impatient father will say, "Get up, you fool, walk, come with me." He can't. By the time he gets up, boom, he falls down. "Sire, you can't even stand up. You are really the son of your mother. Get up." That child will not even get up, I tell you, because he is afraid. I have done something wrong. Encourage the child. "Ha, baby, you jumped. Ha, ha, you jumped. Baby, get up. Let us go." And he will get up again, courageously, and walk. And after 2 steps, boom. Encourage him again. "Ha, you took 2 steps. Now come on. Mummy is here. Come on, baby." And the boy feels a great achievement. I walked all the distance myself. Encourage him. Give him a biscuit for walking, and then you make him walk again. It is to slowly 100 times they will make mistakes. A guru, a spiritual guru, has to be much more. Because physical walking and balancing is easier compared to balancing the mind.
Discover yourself through the Bhagavad Gita.
summarizing the whole Gita. Manmana bhava mad bhaktaha madhyajimam namaskaru. Then you shall reach me, no doubt about it. I promise you, said Krishna. Full stop. This is Bhagavad Gita. Oh, that is very difficult to understand. That is why all the explanation was given in the early. Manmana, may your mind and intellect be soaked with me. You are what your mind is soaked with. What you think, so you become. So try slowly to inculcate in your mind and constantly keep in the mind the idea of the higher reality, that from which all activities are rising in all living beings. Thus become my bhakta, devoted to me, fall in love with me. When you remember all of you, when you were in love, because in that sweet teenager, everyone will fall in love. In that throes of love, your mind, you cannot pull it from that. Why? Because I have found a love there. It is the nature of the human mind. Mind gravitates towards what it loves. So then when my love is for the world of OET, it is natural. Swamiji, I have no concentration. I can't remember the Lord. I can't sit down prayer. Naturally, I don't expect you to. But when slowly and slowly, by remembering Him constantly and acting in the world outside for Him, by that process, when the mind has become manmana, my mind has become soaked with Him, mad bhakta, I naturally become devoted to Him. Madhyajimam namaskaru. Make all your sacrifices for me. Every one of us is sacrificing. Sacrificing means spending our energy in the world outside for something. Your physical abilities, your emotional beauty, your intellectual capacities, we are constantly constantly spending, pouring out into the various fields of work to gain something. May all that outpourings, all your responses to the external world may be considered by you. Mere consideration, mere thinking, let it be all dedicated to Him. Swamiji, this is very unnatural. What are you talking? Every one of you is putting forth the effort from morning till evening. Physical, mental, intellectual. For what? For my bal bacha. For my wife and children. I have got a big family, Swamiji. Therefore I have to work very hard. Why? With the sweat of my brow, I have to feed them. When you are working also, you are thinking nothing but that family. Is it not? There are people I have watched. You may be downstairs, upstairs in the bedroom which is locked or closed, a telephone is there. When that telephone ring comes, in the house downstairs, kirtan is going on. The man is sitting in Parama Bhakti. When the telephone rings, I have noticed him looking at the wife and telling her to go upstairs. I surprised. How did you know that the phone? Our mind is constantly there. Tomorrow, when you are standing in the bus queue, crowded bus queue, at that time, take 2 or 3 coins in your hand and put it on that cemented floor. And don't look at the coin, look all around. You will find 25 people have looked back. on a street where if you talk, the other man cannot understand the traffic and sound and noise. 5 coins if you put it on the cemented floor, that metal sound, everybody turns back. No, is it mine? Why? Our mind is tuned on to the sound of money. See, it all depends upon your interest. When you got the interest, you will listen. Where there is love, then all your sacrifices dedicated to unto Him from morning till evening, we are working. Let that work be for Him. Madhyajimam namaskuru. Bow down, prostrate to me. Mame vaishasi satyam te. Then in that case, you shall come to me. Satyam. By God, I tell you. In Sanskrit, Satyam. Because the student is not accepting. By this process can I reach that high sight? Satyam. I am telling you the truth. Satyam te pratijane. I promise you. By God, I promise you. If you do this, you shall reach the highest. And this I am telling you why. Priyosime. You are very, very dear to me, and therefore I am privately telling you. A simple method. You want to know what the Gita says? It's nothing. So you make your mind saturated with this memory, remembrance of this great reality. Do all your work. Never stop from your doing the work. But may all your sacrifices, the energies put forth in the world be your dedicated offering unto me. In that way, your love and devotion for Him, your identification with me begin increased. Soon enough, I promise you, I tell you the truth, you shall reach the highest. Why are you telling me, bluffing me? Out of my pure love for you, I am telling you. When you are my beloved, I will not bluff. I am telling you the truth. I have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. But it is surely because of my love for you that I am saying it.
सुप्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः मत्तः परतरं नान्यत् किञ्चिदस्ति धनञ्जय मयि सर्वमिदं प्रोतं सूत्रे मणिगणा इव तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मरयुध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः अनन्यचेताः सततं यो मां स्मरति नित्यशः तस्याहं सुलभः पार्थ नित्ययुक्तस्य योगिनः अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जनाः पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्. श्रीभगवानुवाच अपि चेत् सुदुराचारः भजते मामनन्यभाक् साधुरेव समन्दव्यः सम्यग् व्यवसितो हि सः क्षिप्रं भवति धर्मात्मा शश्वच्छान्तिं निगच्छति कौन्तेय प्रतिजानीहि न मे भक्तः प्रणश्यति अहमात्मा गुडाकेश सर्वभूताशयस्थितः अहमादिश्च मध्यं च भूतानामन्त एव च तस्मात् त्वमुत्तिष्ठ यशो लभस्व जित्वा शत्रून् भुङ्क्ष्व राज्यं समृद्धम् मयैवैते निहता पूर्वमेव निमित्तमात्रं भव सव्यसाचिन् मय्येव मन आधस्व मयि बुद्धिं निवेशय निवसिष्यसि मय्येव अत ऊर्ध्वं न संशयः श्रेयो हि ज्ञानमभ्यासात् ज्ञानाध्यानं विशिष्यते ध्यानात् कर्मफलत्यागः त्यागात् शान्तिरनन्तरम् यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमम् क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभ सत्त्वं सुखे सञ्जयति रजः कर्मणि भारत ज्ञानमावृत्य तु तमः प्रमादे सञ्जयत्युत निर्माणमोहाजितसङ्गदोषाः अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैः गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत् सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टः मत्तस्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यः वेदान्तकृद्वेदविदेव चाहम् दैवी सम्पद्विमोक्षाय निबन्धाय सुरीमता माशु च सम्पदं दैवीम् अभिजातोऽसि पाण्डव तस्मात् शास्त्रं प्रमाणं ते कार्याकार्यव्यवस्थितौ ज्ञात्वा शास्त्रविधानोक्तं कर्म कर्तुमिहार्हसि सत्त्वानुरूपा सर्वस्य श्रद्धा भवति भारत श्रद्धामयोऽयं पुरुषः यो यच्छ्रद्ध स एव सः ॐ तत्सदिति निर्देशः ब्रह्मणस्त्रिविधः स्मृतः ब्राह्मणास्तेन वेदाश्च यज्ञाश्च विहिता पुरा यज्ञदानतपः कर्म न त्याज्यं कार्यमेव तत् यज्ञो दानं तपश्चैव पावनानि मनीषिणाम् सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। अर्जुन उवाच नष्टो मोहस्मृतिर्लब्धा त्वत्प्रसादात् मयाच्युत स्थितोऽस्मि गतसन्देहः करिष्ये वचनं तव। सञ्जय उवाच यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णः यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिः ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम। हरिः ओम् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्।
Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Harihi Om. In the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, we saw Bhagavan Shri Krishna's vibhutis. And in the 11th chapter, we saw his Vishwarupa, called Vishwarupa Darshanam. In this Tapovan Gita Jayanti fest, we saw Chinmay Vibhuti and Chinmay Vishwadarshan. How many glories I can now enumerate? The first and the foremost, I call it as enchanting Vibhuti. And that is the Gita chanting of lovely children of our Chinmaya Vidyalayas from different places. That was so enchanting that I tell you, I used to look forward to it more than Gita talks. I compliment all children, the teachers who taught them, and their parents, and all schools. The second Vibhuti I call as Chintan Vibhuti, in which he had benefit of listening to our Swamis and Swaminis about their reflection, their deep thoughts on all the 18 chapters. So we had the glimpse. That's what Bhagavan showed, only glimpse of his vibhutis. So that was the second vibhutis. We saw and heard all 18 chapters. The third, one question. Is Bhagavad Gita outdated? But there were answers in different languages. Again by our senior and junior Swamis, Swaminis, Brahmacharis, Brahmacharinis. I want to tell you, I have attended each and every session. Even those sessions where I did not know the languages, but I did manage to get gist of all those talks. It was a great joy how they all have learned this Gita in our different ashrams, but the teaching is the same. And they proved that the Bhagavad Gita is as relevant today, actually more relevant today than even at that time what it was. So that was a great session, the third Vibhuti. Some have asked me whose concept it was. I said, actually it was not a concept of any particular individual, but I see it as the divine sankalpa of Bhagavan Shri Krishna only, which manifested through our global team of thinkers. They always have meetings, explore, have brainstorm sessions, and they evolved this concept, which was guided and also supported, approved by our global head, Swami Swaroopananda. So it is, in the language of our Pujya Gurudev, it was a yajna spirit. All this, what I have enumerated, I call all of them in one word, they are software vibhutis. But once everything is conceived, then comes the actualization of it. Hardware. I do not know how many videographers and photographers and recorders and editors, and all of them have worked to create this whole atmosphere. They are not seen. We Swamis are lucky because we are seen immediately on the screen. But how many people work behind? So when the matter is ready, then it comes at one place, and then from here streaming from one place. And all of you know how many technical snacks are possible. But it was moving very smoothly. That is very clear sign of God's grace and Pujya Gurudev's blessings. And the important thing is all the software, hardware, both of them were in-house. Nothing was outsourced, and no such professional people employed for that. So the greatest asset of our mission, I think, is the devotion and dedication of one and all. Now I come to the most important aspect. We saw these vibhutis and Vishwadarshan, but at the foundation of the whole thing is our Param Guru, Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. In the Upanishad, it said, Tapo Brahmeti. Tapas is Brahman. And Brahman is Adhishthana, substratum of the whole creation. And our Param Gurus, whole tapas was, in the words of the Upanishad, Yasya Jnanamayam Tapaha. This pure spiritual knowledge, abidance in it was his tapas. And that is why whenever anybody even praised or Pujya Gurudev or complimented, he always passed it on to Swami Tapovanji Maharaj. What a wonderful coincidence that his birthday comes on Gita Jayanti. So when God and Guru, both of them are together, then there is nothing for us to look for, something different, somewhere away, for anything that we need in our life, whether material, spiritual. Bhagavan has promised, Yoga Kshema Vahamyaham. I take care of your yoga and kshema. Means whatever you need. Bhagavan did not say whatever you want, but whatever you need to sustain your life and also your spiritual seeking. He gives that. And Kshema, he protects that. And Kshema also means the final beatitude, liberation. So Kshema is the liberation, yoga is that which takes us to that. So therefore, what I have learned that only we must develop greater and greater devotion for God and Guru. When that is there, the Upanishad only says, the one who has that, the whole knowledge is revealed to that person effortlessly. So once again I say, this was the divine sankalpa, and it has become successful because it was his sankalpa, manifested through all devoted workers, sevaks, and spiritual teachers of our mission. So, I say, Tasmai Namah Swami Tapovanaya, Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagwan ki jai, Vande Krishnam Jagadgurum, Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namah. Harihi Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.
ॐ गीतायै नमः। ॐ गोविन्दहृद्गङ्गायै नमः। ॐ गुरुगेयायै नमः। ॐ गिरामृतायै नमः। ॐ गायत्र्यै नमः। ॐ गोपितायै नमः। ॐ गूढायै नमः। ॐ गुडाकेशार्तिहारिण्यै नमः। ॐ मधुसूदनमुखाम्भोजसुधायै नमः। ॐ सर्वार्थमञ्जर्यै नमः। ॐ महाभारतमध्यस्थायै नमः। ॐ मुकुन्दघनदामिन्यै नमः। ॐ हरिझङ्कृतचिद्वीणायै नमः। ॐ त्रिषट्तन्त्रीवरस्वरायै नमः। ॐ प्रस्थानप्रमुखायै नमः। ॐ प्रत्यक्दीपिकायै नमः। ॐ प्रणवात्मिकायै नमः। ॐ प्रपत्यङ्कुरिकायै नमः। ॐ सीतायै नमः। ॐ सत्यायै नमः। ॐ कृष्णाब्जशारदायै नमः। ॐ कृष्णापतिसमुद्धर्त्र्यै नमः। ॐ कार्पण्याधिमहौषधये नमः। ॐ अम्बायै नमः। ॐ अचिन्त्यपदायै नमः। ॐ अमात्रायै नमः। ॐ चिन्मात्रायै नमः। ॐ आनन्दवर्षिण्यै नमः। ॐ अष्टादशभुजायै नमः। ॐ अनन्तायै नमः। ॐ अध्यात्मशस्त्रास्त्रधारिण्यै नमः। ॐ वरदायै नमः। ॐ अभयदायै नमः। ॐ ज्ञानमुद्रायै नमः। ॐ मन्त्राक्षमालिकायै नमः। ॐ वेणुगानरतायै नमः। ॐ शूलशङ्खचक्रगदाधरायै नमः। ॐ विद्याकुम्भोलसत्पाणये नमः। ॐ बाणकोदण्डमण्डितायै नमः। ॐ करताललयोपेतायै नमः। ॐ पद्मपाशाङ्कुशोज्ज्वलायै नमः। ॐ अनुष्टुप्सङ्कुलायै नमः। ॐ नानाछन्दालङ्कारसुन्दर्यै नमः। ॐ इन्द्रोपेन्द्रसंवलितायै नमः। ॐ उपजातिसुसज्जितायै नमः। ॐ विपरीतवृत्तियुक्तायै नमः। ॐ वर्णमङ्गलविग्रहायै नमः। ॐ व्यासप्रियायै नमः। ॐ सप्तशत्यै नमः। ॐ वासुदेवप्रसादजायै नमः। ॐ विषादग्न्यै नमः ॐ विरागिण्यै नमः ॐ विद्यायै नमः ॐ व्यामोहनाशिन्यै नमः ॐ विनेयवत्सलायै नमः ॐ श्रेयायै नमः ॐ निश्चितार्थप्रकाशिन्यै नमः ॐ देही देहविवेकाढ्यायै नमः ॐ बुद्धिद्वयविलासिन्यै नमः ॐ निर्द्वन्द्वायै नमः ॐ नित्यसत्त्वस्थायै नमः ॐ निःस्पृहायै नमः ॐ संशयापहायै नमः ॐ ब्राह्मीस्थित्यै नमः ॐ स्थितप्रज्ञायै नमः ॐ ब्रह्मस्पर्शसुखास्पदायै नमः ॐ ब्रह्मयोनये नमः ॐ यज्ञमय्यै नमः ॐ ब्रह्मनिर्वाणदायिन्यै नमः ॐ कर्मान्तायै नमः ॐ कामतायै नमः ॐ काम्यायै नमः ॐ सौम्यायै नमः ॐ योगत्रयाश्रयायै नमः ॐ धर्मक्षेत्रोद्भवायै नमः ॐ धर्म्यायै नमः ॐ ध्यानस्थायै नमः ॐ भक्तिनिर्झर्यै नमः ॐ ज्ञानविज्ञानसोपानायै नमः ॐ दिव्यस्मरणसन्तत्यै नमः ॐ राजविद्यायै नमः ॐ राजगुह्यायै नमः ॐ प्रत्यक्षायै नमः ॐ सुलभागत्यै नमः ॐ विभूतिभूषितायै नमः ॐ अनन्तायै नमः ॐ विश्वरूपप्रदर्शिन्यै नमः ॐ अद्वेष्टत्वादिसन्दोहायै नमः ॐ क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञपालिन्यै नमः ॐ गुणज्ञायै नमः ॐ त्रिगुणातीतायै नमः ॐ क्षराक्षरविमर्शिन्यै नमः ॐ पुरुषोत्तमपरायै नमः ॐ पूर्णायै नमः ॐ कृतकृत्यपदप्रदायै नमः ॐ दिव्यसम्पत्प्रसवे नमः ॐ दुर्गायै नमः ॐ दुराचारविघातिन्यै नमः ॐ सन्न्यासरसिकायै नमः ॐ मुक्तायै नमः ॐ सर्वपापप्रमोचिन्यै नमः ॐ श्रीशङ्करादृतायै नमः ॐ अद्वैतायै नमः ॐ श्रीनिवासनिवासभुवे नमः ॐ सर्वशास्त्रमय्यै नमः ॐ संविदे नमः ॐ स्मृत्यै नमः ॐ समरसाकृत्यै नमः इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता अष्टोत्तरशतनामावलिः। जय भगवद्गीते मैया जय भगवद्गीते हरिः कमलविहारिणि हरिः कमलविहारिणि सुन्दरसुपुनीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते कर्मसुमर्म प्रकाशिनि कामासक्तिहरा तत्त्वज्ञानविकाशिनि विद्या ब्रह्मपरा ॐ जय भगवद्गीते निश्चलभक्तिविधायिनि निर्मलमलहारी शरणरहस्यप्रदायिनि सब विधि सुखकारी ॐ जय भगवद्गीते रागद्वेषविदारिणि कारिणि मोद सदा भवभयहारिणि दारिणि परमानन्दप्रदा ॐ जय भगवद्गीते आसुरभावविनाशिनि नाशिनि तमरजनी दैवी सद्गुणदायिनि हरिरसिका सजनी ॐ जय भगवद्गीते समता त्याग सिखावनी हरिमुख की बानी सकल शास्त्र की स्वामिनी श्रुतियों की रानी ॐ जय भगवद्गीते दया सुधा बरसावनी मातु कृपा की जय हरिपद प्रेम दान कर अपनों कर लीजय ॐ जय भगवद्गीते ॐ जय भगवद्गीते मैया जय भगवद्गीते हरिय कमल विहारिणि हरिय कमल सुन्दर सुपुनीते ॐ जय